Don't high me.
You're the one that wanted to take this into a part 2.
Well, you kept bringing up our like mute meet cute story, which really wasn't that cute to begin with. I thought it was tragic because she left me.
Okay.
Anyways.
All right.
Welcome to episode number 4. The
Episode
real
number
A
4.
Date Night In. Cheers.
History versus herstory. I want to call it that. Is
I
that
like
okay?
it. No,
Is that
I
okay?
guess. Comment down below. Do you think that's a good title or do you think it's reaching?
I think it's cute.
I think it's cute too. I'm just teasing. I love you.
I
Cheers.
love you. Cheers.
Cheers to you, chat. So this is a continuance. Obviously, we're wearing our same clothes. So you're hearing this a week later after it was filmed. We just kind of decided after the last episode that we're just going to continue on and go straight from where we were because it was kind of a heavy topic into our origin story.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah? So I tell you what. I would like to hear your version first.
Oh boy.
And I think everyone would like to hear your version first
You
because when
wanna
I
hear
tell the
my
reality,
version first because you think yours is the truth.
listen, there's your story, there's my story is the truth. Boom, there it is.
Okay.
If
All
it
right.
was a sandwich, it would have cheese on it. The truth with some cheese on it.
Is that a thing? I mean, I like cheese, so
Where my old heads at? I think it's a Young Bucks column now.
maybe.
No cap. My story be bussin'.
Bussin' on God, no cap.
Straight up, we just lost half our audience right there.
Bet.
No, seriously though, in all fairness, our origin story has like such wildly different perspectives that I think it's a little out of hand.
So many different elements. Okay, so where do we start? Do you really want me to go first?
Oh, if you want to.
I went first last time. I think you should go first.
Oh, really? I should go first.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So when it comes down to it, right? The truth, right here. I love you. By the way, before we get into this, I just want you to know I love you.
I love you.
All right.
Every time we tell this story, we have to tell each other that we love each other because it's always a little bit of an argument.
A little bit? All right, it's a little bit. We're going to go with a lot of bit. Anyway, we met on Tinder, right? So this is going to go straight back to the beginning. I never even connected with anybody other than bots on Tinder. So when I connected with her, I just assumed it was one of those like, oh, hey, how are you? Oh, great, check out my link kind of deal. Like one of those type things.
I was real.
She was real.
Spoiler, I'm real.
It's a miracle, first of all. So I was skeptical at first because like the answers that we were talking back and forth. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I was like, I'm old school anyway. Here's let me get your number. Like let's talk, right? So we talked my whole ride home from work, which I lived like an hour away at that point, or excuse me, I worked an hour away from my home at that point. So we talked the entirety of the ride home. Funny part about it is we're in the middle of a great conversation and I pull up and my brothers are out and they start jumping on my car. Like they literally are like jumping on the hood of my car. And all of a sudden, like, we're just having a good conversation. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, what the hell is happening?
Had no idea these people were his brothers, like, thought his car was getting attacked, didn't know what to do, didn't know where he was, like, couldn't help him.
We're a rambunctious group of folks, all right?
That's to say the least, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's funny. For a while there, every time I would see my sister, we would be like, hey, what's up? And we'd wrestle because she was in the Navy.
Yeah.
And she thought she was hot shit, but, she couldn't beat me but half the time. She's a beast. Well, she was a beast. I don't know. I haven't wrestled her in a little while. Also, I've gained some weight, so I could just be like, plop. But anyway, they came and they were jumping on the car and whatnot. So I started yelling, and she was like, what is happening right now? I was like, I'm so sorry. It's my brother's birthday, right? So, we're going to go in. We're going to do the birthday ritual. I said, we're going to be done, fairly early. What are you doing this evening? Why don't we go grab a drink, just meet face to face, and reluctantly, she agreed. I say reluctantly.
I'll tell my side of the story later.
I say reluctantly. She was like, oh well, I worked all day, but yeah, no, I guess that's fine, right?
Bacardi's gonna make a cameo in this episode too. Hi,
sweet baby, look at the bee.
Oh, hi.
So we end up meeting, right? So I get done with my brother's birthday stuff, And I drive. I mean, she lived what, half an hour away, I would say.
35, 40 minutes max, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really
No.
too big of a deal. So we met at a bar called Max Canada. And again, I want to preface Max Canada being spelled Maxx. Right? Was it two X's or three?
Two.
Anyway, they had on their window MA doorway big space XX. So like, I'm trying to find this place, and I'm unfamiliar with the town, and I'm like, okay, that's a strip club, and I kept going by, right? And she's like, no, it's not. It's spelled that way. Come back. Well, I couldn't find parking. I had to park literally a mile away. When I say a mile away, I mean legitimately a mile away. So, finally, I'm walking up to the bar, and I call her. I want to make sure that I'm in the right spot. And I was like, hey, are you here? But as this is happening, right, as I'm calling her, there is a person sitting outside smoking 2 cigarettes at once.
Who looks nothing like me.
Looks nothing like you. But again, you hear all these stories about catfishing, things like that. So I was a little skeptical. That person answered their phone at the exact same time that she did. And I'm far enough away, like, I can't hear what's happening, but I hear her, and I can, like, kind of make out, like, mouth movements, and I'm like, okay. So I kept going. I kept walking. I was like, nope, not a chance. Like, I'm a smoker, but 2 at once, like, come on. It was an avoid this situation type situation. Mm-hmm. Come to find out it's not her. She's like, yeah, I'm inside. I was like, oh, thank God. So I turn around, I go in. I go in. There's a guy outside, the doorman, and he goes, well, I need to see your ID.
It's a college town.
College town, yeah.
You have to have an ID because everybody has a fake, so.
Everyone does have a fake, and I get that. I had realized, so in my car at the time, I had a little cubby, like, by the gear shifter, like, right in the center, where I would always put my wallet so I don't sit on it, right? Sitting in your car on your wallet, right? So I put it right there. Realized, as the guy said that, I was like, shoot. We lock eyes, right? So she is, like, right there at the bar, right? Like, adjacent to the door. So we lock eyes, and I was like, 1 minute, I'll be right back. She, I guess, thought I was talking to the doorman, or she didn't even see me do that. What she sees is me go and gone. So I ran back to I sprinted, again, I'm a mile away. I sprinted back to my car, grabbed my wallet, and I sprinted back. I mean, you're talking probably 10 minutes went by, I would say, right? Maybe 5? I don't know.
About
10 minutes.
About closer to 10.
Of course, by the time I get back, I'm like, all right, I'm out of breath. I'm a little sweaty. So I was like, okay, like, give me a second. Like, let me try to air out, Try.
Sorry, it's funny now.
I was a mile away.
It's funny now.
It's funny now, but at the time, it was not funny. So I walk in, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize that was her at the bar, like, fully. Like, I thought it was.
And why not?
Because I stalked your Facebook, and your Facebook pictures were not updated, or your Tinder pictures weren't updated. One of the two. I was expecting short, pixie cut, like, beat red hair. Did not get that. I got long blonde hair.
I was like to hear.
Longer blonde hair. So I walk up to the bar, and I went to send a text message. So I put my phone in the bar. I opened it up. I was ready to, text him like, hey, where at the bar are you? Just got here. Right? Of course, happenstance may be where I walked up, which was the edge, there she was. And she goes, oh, hey, you came back. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I panicked for a second. I did. I was like, oh, shit, that's you. And I was like, Kyle, oh, my God. Okay, hey, I left my wallet in the car. I'm so sorry I had to park. I was trying to explain everything. She was already having a beer, and she looked very distraught. Anyway, we sat down. I think we had a great conversation.
We did.
In the middle of it. Probably about, 45 minutes to an hour in.
A little longer than that.
I would say around an hour, give or take. She goes, hey, I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. Gets up, goes, I'm checking her out. I'm like, damn, all right, I'm doing all right. She's pretty great. I love her personality. She looks fantastic. Like, what's the flaw is really what's going on in my head. And she comes back, and I was like, you know what? That's actually, a solid thing. I'll be right back as well. After I had ordered another beer, I thought that she was going to order another beer as well. I wasn't sure. She still had a decent amount left. I say decent, I mean, enough not to order you another beer, but like make it inconspicuous because I was drinking out of a bottle. Like if we just swap these real quick, maybe she's in the bathroom, she won't notice. Right? So she gets back, I go to the bathroom. I come back literally to the T. I didn't even get one ass cheek in the seat. She goes, well, I gotta go. And I was like, whoa, all right, let me pay for the bill. She goes, I already took care of it. She jumps out and
I said I have to work tomorrow.
Okay, you may have said...
It's not my turn. It's not my turn.
It's not your turn. Hold on.
I'm
See,
sorry.
this is where it gets heated because literally when I say she got up, like I've got this motion going on. So I can't even get one ass cheek in the seat. And she's already hopped out of her seat. And she's like, hey, I got work in the morning. I got to go. And she is already gone. Back turned to me and everything. And I'm like, whoa. So I chase after her. And basically, we get all the way to she gets all the way to the door before I catch up. Right? Like, that's how gone she was.
I walk fast.
She was trying to escape me pretty quick.
I was not.
So I was like, whoa, hey, I would really like to see you again. And she's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll text you when I get home. I'm like 5 minutes down the road, so like it's not creepy if I text you in like 4 or 5 minutes. I was like, okay, cool. Whatever. We hugged, we said our goodbyes, and she left. It was very, very like, okay, like, cool, nice to meet you. So I got that vibe like it was over. Like that was it. And I was like, well, at least I, was able to go out and have a couple of beers. I found a nice place. Like, this is kind of cool. I'm probably never going to come here again to avoid this one. Awkward situations and all, right?
Are you going to tell the rest of the story? Tell the rest of the story.
Yeah, I'm going to tell the rest of the story. So anyway, she texted me. Like, I literally was like, I don't even want to finish my beer. I want to go home. So I started walking to my car. She texted me before I even get halfway there. Right? Like I said, again, a mile away. She texted me and she's like, hey, I'm home, blah, 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 blah. I texted her back, said, hey, I had a great time tonight, yada, yada, yada. Well, she was like, well, I'm going to bed. Have a good night. Okay, cool, no worries. Again, I'm in the mindset that this date is over, that I'm not going to hear from this one again, and, well, my chances are shot.
Okay, well, hold on, because if you're going to go on to the other nights, let's stop there so I can tell my version of this night. And then
I was just going to say that I finally got to my car, again, didn't hear anything back, and I drove 30 minutes home. And then texted her. I was like, hey, by the way, I made it home safe as well. I know I live a little bit further. Hopefully I didn't wake you. Well, I forgot what I said. But I was trying to be cute about it.
All right, my turn? Okay. So there's a continuance of his version of the story, but we're going to go to my version of the first night as well. Okay.
Fake news.
Okay, so we meet on Tinder. Something that is important to know is that at the time, I worked in child welfare services. What that means is that I was on the investigation team, and I was responsible for investigating claims of child abuse and neglect and removing children who were abused and neglected from their homes. Really heavy job, right?
Fair.
And so I worked a lot. It was very hard to meet people, which is why I ended up on Tinder. Had never matched with anybody on Tinder before. So I happened to be out at lunch, like grabbing a quick bite
by my work,
near where he was working. And I was
least.
Actually, the crazy thing is that I was in one county where my jurisdiction was, but I was so far to the edge of it that I just so happened to be within his radius and he happened to be within mine, and we matched. So it's completely fate, right? Looking back at it, of course, because normally we would have been so far apart that it would have never been possible.
Never would have happened.
So, we match on my lunch and, whatever. And then we were sending messages back and forth. And I was like, oh, okay, like we're actually having like a good conversation. And I had a really rough day. So the second half of the day, I go out to a case where I had to remove 2 kiddos from their home. And when you remove children from their home in the county that I worked in, that generally meant within 24 hours you had a court hearing, and most court hearings happened by 8 a.m. the next day, to explain to the judge, yes, this is why we took them, and will you keep this order in place? So basically we had to get the judge's approval to take them, but then also go into a legal proceeding that was formal to give the parents a right or a chance to come in and question it and fight for it and whatever. So that happened. So I take these kiddos out of their home. So I have a really tough day. He's busy at work. I'm busy at work. We messaged a handful of times. When he's leaving work at this point, he left a little later than I was. So I was already home, had already stopped at the later.
I don't think I left until, 7:30?
I think you left maybe 6:30. 30 or maybe 7. But I'm already at home at this point and have had 2 beers. Now, mind you, I've also come off of a week of being on call. So I was working 8:30 to 5 and being on call at night for any emergencies for child abuse and neglect in the county. And I'm the only person responding to these in the entire county, in a rural county that's really big, right? So I was tired. And so it's like, cool, I'm done, I'm off call. What?
I see what you're doing there.
What am I doing?
You're like, hey, look at my old job. Now I win. Because
no, that's
I
not
would
it.
side with you already just hearing the story, like just hearing your job. I'm like,
Maybe
she already
you should
wins.
side with me then.
But I don't, because my story's the truth. Granted, I worked 100-hour weeks too.
Okay, you did.
We both worked.
We did.
We both worked.
We
a
both
lot.
worked a ton. That's why we were both on dating apps, because we had no time to meet other people.
For real,
And
I
so,
couldn't even go to the bar. I'd have to pick up a six-pack from the gas station.
Me
on the
neither.
way
That was me.
home.
So I stopped on the way home after being on a week of on call, and I can tell you exactly what beer I bought. They don't sell it here, but it was a raspberry. No, it was a raspberry sour from another local to Atlanta brewing company at the one that was around the corner from the house we lived in Athens.
Orpheus?
No, not the brewing company, the liquor store around the corner from where we used to go all the time.
No, I was just the raspberry beer.
It was raspberry sour. I don't remember exactly the brewing company. I could show you the label, and you'd be like, yeah, you remember me drinking that all the time. It was like black, and it had like yellow and pink and blue. It had like a wolf on the front.
Yeah.
And it was a raspberry sour.
Yep.
So I'd already had 2 of those. They're strong. So God, I've had a tough day, right? So he calls me. We talk for like an hour, and eventually when he's like, would you like to meet up tonight? I'm like, shit, I do. But like, this is like, I haven't showered because I've been on call. I went to work today, kind of gross, and like it was like the very end of like dry shampoo being acceptable to go out into the world, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And I've already had 2 strong beers, running on very little sleep, and have had nothing to eat for dinner. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, I don't want to say no because I don't want to miss my opportunity to go out with him. Like, I really like him. We're connecting on the phone. This is great. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. So I say yes. And I immediately, after we hang up, and he's like, you pick a place, tell me where to meet you. I'll meet you there in like an hour, hour and a half. I'll let you know when I'm leaving. So he's like, well, we'll pick a place near you so that you have time to get ready. Because I had said, like, I don't know, like, I don't have a lot of time to get ready. Whatever.
Literally, I was just trying to be accommodating.
I know. And that was great. So he told me to pick a place near me. So I pick a place I'm comfortable with. And I'm, of course, like, I threw on a sheet pan, like a handful of chips and cheese with some buffalo and ranch to make some buffalo ranch nachos, shove them in my face, take a quick shower, and I'm calling my mom on FaceTime, like trying to put an outfit together. Like, I really like this guy, help me pick an outfit. Like I'm so nervous. So I drive to this place, I get there early because I'm like, okay, it's the place I want to be there, right? And I know this place well. And I just so happen to get an upfront parking spot, which is very unheard of in this town. And so I get there.
Must be nice.
Right, I know. Well, I got there early. So, and so this place was only about a mile from my house. So I was like, I could comfortably go have another beer or so and still drive home, and go from there. And so I drive up to this place, and I'm sitting at the bar inside, and, I'm waiting for him to get there, and he calls me and whatever. I tell him I'm inside. So when he comes up to the bouncer, and of course, this is a college town. He may not have realized that. He didn't mean to forget his wallet.
The front door is open, like, and the bouncer's literally right outside going, ID.
Right. So, of course, I knew because I had been there before, but I had locked eyes with him. And so he locks eyes with me and then turns around and leaves. So from my perspective, he saw me, didn't think I looked like my picture, and left. And I'm like, wow. I got all dressed up. I showered. I really liked this guy. I'm so upset. And I'm like texting my mom and my best friend at the time. And I'm like, what do I do? And they're like, you know what? You're already out. Just order yourself a beer, girlfriend. Like, just have your beer, go home. So I order a beer. Because I know the beers. I know, I've been to this place several times because they had hockey games on. That was one of the only places to watch hockey. I really like watching hockey. They also had pool and, like, arcade games. So I figured, like, we could always, like, play an arcade game or pool. So, like, to break the ice if it's weird. And so, like, I was like, okay, this is, like, the perfect place. Like, we could have, I know the beers. I know the bartender. It's close. Like, we're good, right? And so I'm like, whatever. I'll just have a beer and I'll go home. So I order a beer. When he comes back, he leans against the bar, and I'm like, is he really not going to talk to me? Is he really
I didn't realize it was you.
But I didn't realize you had stalked my Facebook, and my pictures were different because I hadn't updated my Facebook in forever. And so he's expecting short hair pixie cut, and at the time, my hair is to here and, like, a blonde, like, dirty blonde balayage.
Yeah.
And
so night and day difference.
That's what you get for stalking. And so he's like, oh, you're here. And I'm like, oh, you came back. Because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, he felt guilty. He came back to have a beer with me because he felt bad, whatever. And so we had a very nice conversation. We did. We had a great conversation. We had a beer. But I had prefaced this night with, I have to be up in the morning because I had court. Knowing that I had a removal that day,
But
I had to go to court.
didn't realize that it was going to be such a
Hold on,
short
this
night.
is my version of the story.
You're right.
This is
you're
my
right.
version of the story.
I apologize.
So I have my beer, I get up, whatever, and then I paid the tab because I was like, I at this point I felt like he just took pity on me and came back. I didn't even really think that he wanted to be there, and I was anxious about that. Then I was like, you know what? Like, I know that I had my beer, and I know that I come to this bar a lot, so I want to make sure that I tip the bartender well because I always come here, and just you never know how people tip. You just don't. And at the time, you didn't work in the service industry, so I didn't know.
Yep, that's
and
true.
so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tip him well. So I pay for our drinks. And he comes back and he's super confused. And I was like, I got to go. I have work in the morning. So, of course, I get
Literally,
to the door.
she's saying this as she's out of her chair and moving.
Now, mind you, this is my story. You had your turn.
But you have to tell the
You
truth.
had your turn.
I'm sorry.
So of course, when I get to the door, my car's right outside. So it's not a very far walk.
Literally,
And
door,
so...
car.
So when he's like, I had a nice time, and I'm like, I did too. And he's like, will you text me when you get home safely? And I'm like, yes, but please don't feel weird when I text you in like 5 minutes because I live like a mile from this bar. So it's going to be weird. So like he wasn't even to his car yet. And I texted him like, hey, I had a nice time. I made it home safely. And he was like, oh, you really did text me? Like, whoa. And I was like, yeah, like I had a nice time. I'd love to see you again. And I happened. Yes, I did. 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 1,000% I did. I did. I know I did. What?
It's your story.
Okay, so I know I did. So whatever. Okay, so this was a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So to preface before we trade sides, to preface this, as we explained in the last episode, he has 2 children from before we were together. I am their bonus mom, and the next night he had them after school
I used to get
for
them
Thursdays, and then Friday he had to work late. Okay. So then at this point it's now Saturday.
Memorial Day weekend.
Would you like to take a turn and tell about Saturday?
I'm liking yours.
Okay.
I'm liking
all right,
yours. I'll chime in a little bit on this
all right.
one.
So Saturday happens. I had made plans to hang out with my sorority sister at the time. And she wanted to sit at the pool because she finally had some time off. And she's like, hey, come over to my apartment. We'll sit at the pool. We'll have lunch. And, we'll just hang out, just us girls. And we hadn't hung out in a long time because I was very busy at work. And she was too. She was, working in the school system, helping people with autism spectrum disorder. So we were both very busy. So finally we get some time on a holiday weekend to spend together. I'm not on call. And we decided to go to the pool. So I show up at her house in the morning and we go sit at the pool. We're hanging out and he's texting me and he's like, hey, I had a really nice time the other night. I'm free today. Is there any chance you'd like to meet up for lunch? And he suggested
because I was at work.
Right.
Is what it was. Is I could take a
place.
lunch break whenever because I normally don't. But, when I'm that worker when, if I say, hey, I'm leaving for a little bit, there's no question. Right. So I can kind of just come and go as I please at that job.
Right. So he basically was like, hey, I'm near you or closer to you than I was last time. Do you want to meet up for lunch? And I said, unfortunately, I'm out a little further than I normally is because she lived in Sandy Springs.
And it just happenstance to be a couple miles down the road from where I worked.
And so I'm in Sandy Springs and I'm hanging. So we're in Atlanta, the greater Atlanta area at this time. I lived in the Athens, Georgia area when we first met.
I thought she was stalking me, not gonna lie. I was like, ooh, I got one. Yay.
So I happened, and I'm like, listen, unfortunately, I'm not free for lunch. And I'm like looking at her and I'm like, but I really want to see him. Like, should I text him and add do you want to have dinner instead? And so I do. But he only reads, I'm not free for lunch.
I really did.
He stopped. He stopped reading. So then I continue about my day, and I don't hear from him for a little bit, and I'm like, damn, he thinks I stood him up. I'm really upset. I really like this guy, and I'm so upset because I really wanted to see him again. And so we continue about our day, whatever, and it gets to the mid-afternoon, and then at this point he's like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely free, but how about I make you dinner? And I'm like, oh shit, that escalated quickly. Okay, fuck. So I'm like, I'm an hour from my house. I haven't showered. I've been in the sun with sweat and sunscreen and chlorine all day. I have to go home and shower. I have to put on a good date outfit because I haven't had a good date outfit at this point because I didn't have a good date outfit the first time.
First of all,
I still have what I wore.
You were stunning.
I still have the jacket and the shirt. I don't fit in the pants anymore. But
same, bro.
Thank you. But
one leg couldn't fit in those pants that I used to wear. By the way, I used to be sexy. Believe it or not. Oh
now.
My God.
You're sexy now.
I used to have to be like, no, step away from me, you vixen.
You're sexy now.
I don't fight anybody off away. Really what they're like, I'm like, don't look at me that way. And they're like, trust me, I wasn't. I'm like, oh, all right.
Okay, so this is happening, right? And I'm like freaking out about picking the perfect outfit. So I like drive home as fast as is like safe, and I like take a shower, blow dry my hair, full face of makeup this time, sundress, necklace, paint my toenails, sandals. I still have the dress I wore for that date too, and the necklace and everything. I don't have the sandals because they got destroyed, but I have everything else.
Yeah.
And so then I'm getting ready, and he keeps calling. So cute, so cute. He keeps calling to check, and he's like, "Hey, what do you eat?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not picky anything." And he's like, no, like, what kinds of like foods do you like to eat? And I'm like, Italian, Tex-Mex, American, really anything is fine. And he's like, okay.
So literally, I walked down every food aisle in Walmart, like ziggy-zaggy, snobby term. If you know, you know. Again, like up and down, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna call. So I asked about food allergies, types of food that she wanted.
Right.
Also, like, what do you want to drink with this? Are you like...
No, hold on. Okay, hold on. I want to preface this. Okay, so he calls me and he goes, "What do you like to eat?" And I said, "Really anything." And then I said, Tex-Mex, Italian, or American. Between those cuisines, pick something. So then he goes, "Okay." So about 5 minutes later, I've now blow-dried my hair because my hair was short at the time, and I'm doing my makeup. And he calls me again.
Hair wasn't short at the time. Your hair was
to here.
medium.
It was short. It was to here.
Should have been here.
Oh, okay. So he calls me a second time. And he goes, "Do you have any food allergies?" And I said, "Nope, I don't. I'm good." At the time, I didn't. Now I do, but I didn't. And I said, and he goes, "Okay, so chicken, steak, veggie." And I was like, "Anything's fine." He goes, "Okay, all three." And he hangs up. And then I continue proceeding to get dressed and put on my jewelry and everything. I'm about to leave the house, and he calls me a third time, and he goes, "What do you want to drink tonight?" And I was like, really not picky. And he's like, "Red wine, white wine, beer." I'm like, "Anything's fine." He goes, "Okay, all three." And he goes to check out. And so I drive to his house.
That was the most expensive date I've ever been on. Because I probably spent $250 at Walmart just buying just everything. Literally, she was like, "I don't know, surprise me," and I'm like, "Cool."
So cute. I'm not picky. Like, I'll drink anything. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to hang out with him and make a better impression. So I pull up to his house, and so of course at this point I drive like 35-ish minutes from my house to that house, and I see all these cars parked in the driveway. Because his dad and stepmom were on vacation and they had parked the cars and whatever, and he was staying.
So I had my own apartment before, but when I...
Long story short, you condensed and lived there for a period of time.
Yeah, for literally a year until we moved in together. It was probably almost probably to the T.
Yeah.
A year.
And so I see all these cars in the driveway, and I'm like, "Oh my God, who's here?" Like, there's so many people here. Like, I'm so nervous, and I call him. I'm like, "You have to come outside and get me." He's like, "No, just come to the door." I'm like, "No, you have to come get me.
There's no one here.
You have to come get me. You have to come get me." So he comes out. He's so cute. He's wearing his blue ombre polo and his jeans. And he's like, "Oh my God, you're so much more dressed up. Let me go like back inside and change." And I'm like, "No, you look amazing."
Wear a suit at that point.
Like,
my
shush,
God.
you look amazing. And so we go in.
She looked amazing.
And he pours me a drink, and we're talking, and he's cooking dinner. He's making chicken, steak, and veggie fajitas. And he has the little table for two all set. Oh my God, it's so cute. And okay. Do you want me to tell this part, or do you want to tell this part? You want me to tell this part?
I think we alternate a little bit.
Okay, all right. So backstory on why this happens. You tell that part.
So when she texted me earlier on that day, that, "Hey, I'm hanging out with my friends,
not free for lunch.
Not free for lunch, right?" So that's what I heard, and I was like, "Fuck." I texted my brother. I was like, because he lived like 7 houses up. He bought the
brother jumping on the car in the first story.
Yeah. Oh, one of them. Yeah. But he lives 7 houses up. So I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like, she stood me up. Whatever. "What are you doing tonight?" I was like, "Hey, we're supposed to get lunch, whatever." We're talking back and forth. And he was like, "I don't know. I need to get away from the wife." And I was like, "Come on down, baby." My door is literally never locked. And in all fairness, at that point in time, the door was never locked. The garage door was open, or the back door was open if the front door was locked.
Garage door. Oh, my God.
You got 30 days. But no, seriously though, because everyone in the community had a lookout on each other. It was a very like small town Georgia.
Sure.
So she comes over.
He forgets to tell his brother that I'm coming for dinner. He's so nervous he forgets.
Well, when she was like, "Hey, how about dinner tonight?" And I was like, "Ow, yay!"
Yeah.
The fact that I texted my brother just completely slipped in my mind, right? So I'm finishing up the cooking. I'm literally about to plate the meal.
He's like, doing all the things, like setting the table with like real napkins and all the things. He's pouring wine. He's checking how I'm doing. Just all these things. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
brother
again,
shows up.
The doors aren't locked. That man basically kicks through the door and goes, "I'm sorry that bitch stood you up." God damn it, Cody.
Cody, if you're listening to this, I'm so glad you're a part of this story.
He's one of my favorite people of all time.
Mine too.
But at that fucking moment in time, bro.
It's funny because at the time, I was facing away from the front door to the kitchen, and he was facing the kitchen.
She was around the corner, so he couldn't even see her. So when he comes through, he's like, man, fuck that bitch. I can't believe she stood you up.
And he's like...
And she's going, I'm like, shut the fuck, she's right there. He goes, oh, what you cooking? Give me a plate. You know, and just kept going on and on and on. I'm like, dude, I love you. Listen, she's here. You see that.
Go home.
Go. You don't got to go home. Just get the go.
Go sit on the front porch, sit in the backyard. Don't care.
He's like I didn't tell her that I smoked cigarettes, and he goes, hey man, can I bum a cigarette from you? And I was like, I don't know. I think my dad's are over there. Like, shut the fuck up. He goes, oh, you didn't tell her yet, huh? Did you tell her about your kids? Shut the door. I'm like, mother.
He goes, you tell her about your ex-wife? And I was like, he did. It's fine. We're good.
I'm like, dude, I'm gonna hurt you.
So then he's plating the meal, and his brother's like, can I have a plate? He goes, sure, if you eat it on the fucking porch. So he hands him a paper plate. We walk the front door.
I did. I shut it. I locked it. I was like, fucking go home, goddammit.
So, at this point, we have our dinner. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
We had such a good dinner.
We did.
It was such a good time.
It was the best. Honestly, that meal is still to this day, almost 7 years later, like one of the top 5 things you've ever cooked for me. And like you've gotten so much better at cooking too, but like still, it's one of the the best things you've ever cooked for me.
In all fairness, I haven't, because I don't cook nearly. I used to cook pretty much every night for myself.
But you had to. But it's like I think it was the love that went into it because you wanted to impress me. I really think it was.
I liked you a little bit, right? But like I did, I really did.
But so okay, so
I say did. I really do. You're my favorite person.
You're my favorite. So when we get to this point in the story, we always like reconnect about like we don't always see eye to eye about the beginning part, but like
the ending is great.
7 years later, here we are. We're still together.
There's 3 people in my life that I will do anything for, and it's my 2 kids and her. Other than that, I'm sorry. I just, you know, it's not the same. Like, the 3 of y'all are literally on the same fucking pedestal. And you know, the second date really like sealed that deal for me. It did. Because we had such an in-depth conversation, and you know what it was? It was the locking of the eyes. Like we would. Just like we just had that connection, and
you know what's funny too, as I remember, and this story will be told at our wedding one day. I remember Cody witnessed our first kiss, and we kissed, and he goes, "Woo! Did I just witness the first kiss?" And he's like, "Shut the fuck up, dude."
How did you get back? He opened I prefaced the garage earlier. The garage door. He opened the garage. I didn't even hear it. The steps. And came up from the garage. He goes, "What? Oh, woo! Yeah, no, that fucking little." So, I love him to death, but god damn it, dude.
You know, I will say that one of the things that we will preface our story about is that everybody always says the cliche, when you know, you know. And literally, I think for me personally, it was love at first
bite of food, because she was like, wow, you can cook. I'm down.
I don't think it was just that, but hold on, I feel like I have to sneeze.
Purple elephant, green rhino.
Okay, I think we're good. All right. So,
napkin?
No, I'm okay. Thank you. So, you know, it's funny because, like, a lot of times when people hear our story and how fast we move, people are like, whoa. But,
so, we got to continue on from where we were.
Oh, absolutely. So from this point, this is Saturday night, right?
Saturday night, yeah.
So.
No, was it Friday? No, it was Saturday.
This is Saturday. Because Friday night you had to work. Thursday you had the kids, Friday you had to work.
You're right, yeah.
So then.
Memorial Day weekend, though, so it was a long weekend.
This is Memorial Day weekend.
We both had Monday off.
Right. So what's happening is, at this point, we're both like, wow. Like, literally, like, we had our first kiss, and I was like, fuck, I'm in trouble. Like, holy shit, I'm in trouble. Like, I love this guy already. I'm doomed. And we have this night, and it was beautiful. And no, hold on 1 second. Let me finish my statement, and then you can go. And it was this thing where, just like, even before we said it, I just felt
I said it first. Sorry, I had to blurt it out.
Okay, but I wasn't even going there yet.
I know.
Just even Saturday night before we said it, I was like, wow, how is it possible
second date
that I have been on not even 2 full-ended dates with you, and I just know. And it's funny because, like, in every, like, cliche romantic comedy, in every relationship that anyone I ever knew ever, like, was in that said like, oh, when you know, I'm like, fuck that. No, you don't. That's stupid. That's not true. That doesn't happen. That
But
only
when it
happens
does
in the movies.
happen?
When it happens, it happens. And it's just the most beautiful thing. Because I was like, literally, like, straight up, we kissed. And I was like, that's it. Like, I'm done. That's it. I'm done.
Same.
And it was funny. It's funny because of the Cody moment. But
in all fairness, I feel like it would have played off a little bit differently if he wasn't there to, when I say ruin it, it's not really ruin it. I think he made it different.
He made it more
unique.
memorable, I think, because not that it wasn't memorable, but I think it's like we always have that story to tell because he was part of it.
Literally, like,
how do you,
what do you do at that point?
Yeah, what do you say? How do you react, right? So this is Saturday, and, we'll be curt. We've always been clear about our relationship. I spent the night there that night, and he was very much a gentleman, like, you stay on the couch, or you stay, here in the guest room, whatever. And so the next day is Sunday. And he had asked me earlier, actually, I think it was Thursday.
It was.
I think we forgot to tell this part. So Thursday night.
Was it Thursday
when you
night?
had the kids, you texted me and said, hey, I want to see you this weekend. I was thinking about going paintballing Sunday. Is there any chance you want to join?
That's
and
right,
I had said
did.
yes. But so then
I
Saturday
did.
he happened to say, oh, I'm closer to you. Do you want to get
Let's
lunch
get
on
dinner,
top? Like,
yeah.
And
So it ended up being a Sunday date, but really with a...
Saturday he
as a
was like,
bonus
oh,
date.
I happen to be free sooner. I want to see you. Do you want to meet up?
So needless to say, she spent the night.
So I spend the night. So the Sunday morning, of course, like I had shown up at his house in like a sundress and sandals, so I have to drive home. So I drive home. I feed my cat. If you are a a student member cat, I had to go home and feed
He's
cat.
such a good boy.
I had to go home and feed cat, and he was like literally like the first thing in the morning. We had planned to go paintballing with.
Cody was beating on the goddamn door.
That's what I was gonna say. So we had planned to go paintballing with Cody and Cody's girlfriend at the time.
Literally,
so Cody
he wakes us up at like 8:30.
No, not pounding on the door, pounding on your window.
Room door.
No.
Was it the window?
It was the outside window because you remember your room was
that's
downstairs.
right. I went back to sleep because I was like, fuck off.
It was the window because this is in Georgia where there's basements. So your room was on the bottom floor of the house. He's beating on the window, and then he started beating on the garage door and the front door, and finally like I get up, whatever, and he's like, oh shit, her car's still here. And so I go home, and he's like, hey, like what can I get you from Waffle House? Like we're ordering breakfast. So I go home, I feed Cat, I get my clothes, I come back, we're going paintballing.
I was talking about you the whole time. They kept asking him and his wife at the time. They were just all about Kyle, and I was like, bro, like. Bruh.
So I get back. It was like an hour later, right? Like I had to like go home, maybe an hour and 20 because I had to go home, change, and then like 35 minutes each way, right? So I get back and I have my clothes, and this time I'm prepared. I didn't bring it inside, but I brought a bag with a change of clothes because I was like, we don't have to work tomorrow. Maybe I can stay again. And
I'm sorry, can you say that louder for the
maybe
people
I
in the
can
back?
stay again.
Oh, so she did want to stay.
I did.
What happened now? Why do you want to leave so often?
I don't want to leave.
I'm joking.
So I get like my crappiest clothes and like my old sneakers, old jeans, whatever.
I said,
I'm terrified.
If you can ruin it, or if you don't care about ruining it, wear it.
Now here's the best part. I liked this man so much. I've never played paintball in my life. I'm terrified.
I didn't realize she never said a word about it.
I was so scared. I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to think I was
was like, yeah.
I didn't want to think I didn't want him to think I was a noob. I was like, whatever, yeah, like I know how to play paintball, whatever. So I get all my clothes, I come, we're driving. I'm getting increasingly nervous because we're driving about an hour to this paintball course.
It was definitely an hour and a half.
And it's funny, we're getting ready for this podcast. At one point, he goes, "Where did this hat come from?" And I was like, "That is from our freaking paintball date, and it's actually right here."
This right here, for those of you watching the video, is a Georgia Bulldogs hat that I picked up at a gas station. We got to find yours, or was this yours?
That one was mine.
This one was yours. Okay.
I don't know where yours was.
So I know you can't really see it. The lighting is not that great, but there's still
because I know mine had the Georgia Bulldog thing on the back.
It's kind of a little dark. We got to do better about the lighting in here. But this was, we picked up just like $10 hats from the gas station.
Because he was like, "Oh, you need a hat," and I was like, "Oh crap, so, I didn't bring one."
For those who haven't paintballed, so you have your face mask, right? But the top and the back are all open. So what you want is a backwards hat. So the top of your head's not really that fucking covered. But you got the bill
for the back of your neck.
Just trust me, if you've ever been hit in the freaking back of the neck with a frozen paintball,
or any paintball, but
it could do some serious damage. Like in all fairness.
So we're driving to this paintball place. I'm getting increasingly anxious, but I'm like, you know what? I like this guy. I'm gonna just go with it. I'm gonna pretend that I know what I'm doing, right? So we get there, and he's like handing me the paintball gun, and I'm like,
flawless.
I'm so scared. She
fakes it very well.
I did.
Very well.
I did. I was very scared.
Very well.
Very scared. So I'll let you take over the rest of this part of the paintball story because I know that you tell it best, and it's a pivotal moment for you.
It is a pivotal moment. So, like, it's a hot day in Georgia, right? There's multiple courses on this.
This is May 2017.
Was it May? Yeah.
May, because it's
So
Memorial Day.
It was hot out, right? It was hot enough to where I thought, like, so in the morning it's chilly, right? So I was like, okay, long sleeves are going to be it. Not it.
So you ended up in a cutoff t-shirt.
I ended up
shorts.
shirtless.
Oh, well, you were wearing a cutoff t-shirt on the way there,
yeah,
and shorts. And I was wearing a t-shirt and jeans and sneakers.
See, when I play paintball, it's suns out, guns out, baby. Listen, I don't give a shit about body protection. It's face and neck. Just because a paintball hits you, it looks like a hickey, and that sends the wrong message to everybody. And in my line of work at the time, and also her line of work, like we didn't want that, right? Actually, funny story. We ended up meeting a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in years.
And actually,
he goes,
this was a pivotal moment. He goes, "Oh, so who is this with you?" And I was like, "Oh, this is interesting. I'm gonna see how he's gonna introduce me now." Ooh, okay.
Okay. At this point, technically, I guess it's our third date, right?
Yeah.
Second date continued, but third date total, third day date, right? So I went to like middle school and high school with this kid. Haven't seen him at this point in probably 6 years, 7 years. I mean, Grant, you know what's funny is when I saw him last, he like came up to my chest. He was tall.
Yeah, he was tall.
He was super tall.
That.
He goes, "John!" I was like, "Jesus Christ, dude. Goliath, calm the fuck down. Like, who the fuck are you?" And I was like, "Matt, holy crap." So we're catching up and whatnot. And again, I introduced her. As my girlfriend. So he was like, "Hey, let's team up. You know, we're going to be blue team, red team, whatever." So we're playing. We do a couple of different courses. And there was one, so like there's like the Call of Duty map course. There's the inflatable course. And then there's a woodland map course.
I've never played paintball in my entire life. I'm so scared at this moment.
Well, first map, the Call of Duty map, we got wiped. So the other team started on the far side. They had all the coverage. We had what? A plank and some trees. We were doomed.
There were a couple of like those football things that you tackle. Those like
a
kickboxing thing that hangs from the ceiling, but on the
essentially
ground.
a punching bag that stands up by itself.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
It was
to
like we
behind,
had nothing. It was a one-sided map, and we were all upset. So like, fine, let's go on the even map where all the blow-ups are. So like you had your blow-ups in the middle, and then you had your even like the X Games style paintball maps, like traditional YouTube search paintball map, like that's what it is.
Meanwhile, these people are explaining all the rules, and I'm just going along with it like I know what they're talking about. And no one knows at this point that I've never played.
We're playing TDM, right? Team Deathmatch. Right? So it's basically 10v10 at that point, or 12v12. I forgot how many people were playing. So this right here, this is the story of when I knew that she was literally the girl that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. So we're all playing, right? And we've all played plenty. We're all kind of advancing a little bit. We're all out.
I was hiding.
It comes down to 1v1. We're all on the sideline.
Sweet.
And we're watching these two people on the middle row, right? The middle divider. Kyle's right here. Other dude's right here, right? They're literally they don't know each other's there, except for the divider. Kyle says something to me or something.
How am I the last one? How?
Something happens. He realizes she's there, so he wraps the corner.
I think I said help.
Literally gets right here with the paintball gun.
This distance.
Like literally this distance. And normal people would be like, "Mercy, you lose. Go away. Like, get out of my lobby. Trash." Yeah. Right? Talk a little smack on the way out, whatever. No, this kid goes, and I mean, just unloads.
Right
rock, trig, everything. Just, she has a bruise about the size of a bowling ball.
On my hip at this point.
Right freaking here. This is the moment right here. She is crouched down. One hand brings the paintball gun down. She points with the other, and in all one motion stands up to swing and is about to knock this kid out. And we're in the sidelines going, "He's a minor! Don't do it!" We're like, "No!" It was like classic, like slow-mo.
And I'm like, "Oh, shit."
She doesn't hit him, but the fact that she was like right here, I was like, I'm going to marry this woman. I swear to God, I will do whatever it takes. I'm in love. And ever since,
And
I've been smitten.
That night we made
Smitten.
it official, and
We did. You know, can we tell that story?
Sure.
Because it got real weird. Like,
Sure.
we're chilling, and it was like.
Well, no, okay,
so
hold on. Okay, let me back up a little.
Okay,
bit. So
yeah.
we come home from paintball, and he's like, "Oh, like, do you have?"
We're supposed to watch. We're supposed to go to the movies.
So we were on our way back from paintball, and Cody and his wife at the time are like, "Hey, you know, do you want to join us tonight? We were gonna go get Mexican, go see a movie." And he's like, "Do you want to do that?" And I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "Do you have clothes for that?" And I was like, "Yes." And I was like, I felt super weird about it because I was like,
I knew. I was like, and
yes,
she's
but
down.
like you're not supposed to know that I have clothes for that. So we get back, whatever. They go down to their house and they're taking showers, whatever. And he's like, of course you can shower first. And he's like, do you want to do that tonight? Like, do you want to do something else? Like he's like, I don't care. Like he's like, if you want to.
I had to drive both ways plus play, so I was like, ugh.
And he's like, if you want to do something else, like I'm okay with that. And I was like, honestly, like if you don't want to go, I'm cool with that. I'm fine with just chilling. And he goes, how about we put a pizza in the oven and we watch a movie? And I was like, that sounds perfect. Let me shower, put on some comfy clothes. We'll go from there. He's like, oh, you brought comfy clothes? And I'm like, yes. So I get my comfy clothes out. I take my shower, right? And I'm like, I'm so nervous at this point because, like, you know, it's the first time he's ever seen me with no makeup on. And I'm, like, freaking out.
Which I like better anyway.
I know you do now, but...
I love you with no makeup.
I know, but, like,
you with makeup, like, sometimes, like, I will say, like, when you get, like, all dressed up, like, if we're going out, like, it's like, oh, okay, you look great. But, you know, it's like the getting dressed up. I love... that, hey, I just got out of the shower, I'm in my PJs, and I'm chilling in the recliner. Like, that is my favorite Kyle.
I know it is.
That's my...
And I love you for that.
That's my comfort Kyle.
I love you for that, but you had not seen me that way before, so I was nervous.
But you didn't have to be nervous.
So I can tell you right now that my comfy clothes were a nice top that I still have in the closet with the flowers on it, and a pair of jeans, and I put my hair back in a bun.
Yeah, comfy clothes.
Comfy clothes. Now it's like he's lucky if he doesn't see me looking like I'm homeless.
Bro, at that point I was like, comfy clothes, bro. Here's some sleeping pants. Here's a t-shirt.
But I didn't. I didn't accept those till the next day. So I had comfy clothes, but I put on.
That's right. It went to the next day. I want to pat myself on the shoulder.
I put on my like casual clothes.
Couple of nights
right?
in a row.
Put on my casual clothes, right? So we're hanging out. He makes pizza.
Sorry,
we're
that's
watching.
really inappropriate. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. We're watching a movie, and he's like, "Hey, like I'd really like for you to be around more." And I'm like, I would too. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you know, like I'd really like for us to see each other more. And like whatever way he phrased it.
So the way that I phrased it was, I said, you know, I really enjoy spending time with you, and
I really want you to be around more.
I really want you to be around
and
more.
And I thought he was
and
just
I
being
think
like,
that, you know,
I think you said, I think this is going really well.
I think this is going really well, and I would like to see where this continues.
And like at this point,
so
hold on. At this point, he's only said the word girlfriend to this guy at the paintball thing, and
obviously Cody and his wife,
right? But we haven't talked about it in front. Like we've only said it in front of other people. We haven't had a conversation.
I feel like 2 nights in a row of you spending the night, I feel like we kind of already figured out where we're at.
we had, but we hadn't like so like at this point he said it, and I was like kind of like okay, and he was like, so like. You know, I want to, before we put it on Facebook, you know, explain to my kid's mom, of course, so that they know before I put it on Facebook. And I was like, oh, is that what you meant? And he was like, yes.
What the fuck did you think I mean?
He's like, is that not what you thought I meant? And I was like, no, that's what I hoped you meant, but like I wasn't sure because it was kind of vague. And then we were like, okay, cool. Like we're officially in a relationship. Yes, great. Love you, like whatever.
I'm pretty sure that we said, we exchanged I love yous.
It was the next day. It was Sunday. It was Sunday.
No,
it was Sunday.
It was Sunday. It was Sunday night.
But this was Saturday night. No,
this was Sunday night.
Monday. It was Monday. It was Monday because we had the day off. Remember?
I'm pretty sure it was date number. It was date number 2. So it wasn't Saturday night, but it was Sunday night. Yes, I remember the circumstance. You want me to tell that story?
No, I don't want to tell that story. But you know what it was. You know why I know it was the next night? Because it was so Saturday we went. We had dinner. Sunday we went paintballing, and then we had pizza that night. We became official that night, and then that night I spent the night. We went to get stuff to make breakfast, and it was that day on Monday that we exchanged I love yous.
No, we exchanged I love yous the night before.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we do, because we both looked each other in the eye.
I know.
And
I know exactly.
You said, I kind of want to tell you something,
but I don't want to say it because I think you're gonna get scared.
I love you.
I didn't want to say it because I thought he was gonna run away. I love you.
I love you.
But it was Monday.
It was motherfucking Sunday.
No, Sunday's when we went paintballing.
Right, and I said it that night.
No, we didn't say it till the next morning.
I know how I said it.
We didn't
I
say
know
till the next morning.
because I remember.
We didn't say till the next morning.
I remember I
promise.
was in pain because they did that little birthday game
You were
where
in
the
pain
birthday
the
boy
next
got
day
to beat,
too.
just like line
You
up
were
everybody.
in pain the next day too because I didn't have to go to work till Tuesday.
I was in pain the next day too.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
know.
you get for going suns out.
I know
guns
what's
out.
funny.
I looked like I got like I don't even know what the word for it is. Like,
You looked like you got like I don't even know. Like
beat by a sock full of
I don't even know.
bars of soap.
There's
like.
no good word for it. But I remember the next morning, so it was Sunday. I spent the night Saturday. We had pizza. We watched movies, everything. We became official that night. And then Sunday, Monday. Monday, he's like, hey, like, let's make breakfast. And he's like, what do you want?
I want to make breakfast.
And I was like, oh my God, you want to make me breakfast? That's so cute. And his dad, who he was staying with at the dad's house at the time, they had a coffee maker, but they had no coffee in the house because they were out of town. And I was like, I have to have coffee. Because the first day, I drove home to my house and made my own coffee and then drank my coffee on the way back, like chugging it on the way back to go paintballing.
I remember this story. You got so mad at me.
Okay, no, so we go. We go. We're driving. He's like, okay, let's go to the grocery store. We'll get some stuff to make breakfast, and I'll stop and I'll buy you coffee on the way. And I'm like,
I made her drive.
No.
Did you not drive?
No. That's not the story I was going to tell. So we're on the way to Dunkin', near the Publix.
Were you not driving?
No, I was not driving. And you know why I know? Because I tried to hand my card to the person.
Yeah, and I grabbed it and I threw it in the bag.
You threw it.
I literally was like, nope, and I threw it in the back
And I said, I was like, hi, I'll have a medium iced hazelnut.
I said, no, she'll have a large.
No, so what I said is I'll have a medium iced hazelnut coffee with I think like cream or skim milk or whatever. It doesn't matter.
It was, yeah.
But I said a medium iced hazelnut coffee, and he goes, she'll have an extra large, and I was like, okay, well, what do you want? Because I'm paying. And he's like, and he orders his, and then I put my card out to the person from the passenger seat, and he yanks my card from my hand, throws it to the back of the passenger seat in the Malibu where I couldn't reach it. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, you're not paying for it. Screw that. And so I'm like, I only wanted a medium, and he's like, you're getting an extra large. And I'm pretty sure I only drank a medium's worth.
And that's fine. And listen, I would rather you have too much than too little. I'm sorry.
I love you for that. I love you for that.
Because the way she said it, and I love you to death, you do this still to this motherfucking day. She will be like, yeah, I'm not really that hungry. No, I'm not really that. I'll take a small, bro. And then she'll eat half of mine or drink half of mine. I don't think so, bro.
So then we go into Publix, and he's like, what do you want for breakfast? So now, mind you, we still have steak left from Saturday night. And he's like,
steak was
the steak was phenomenal, like literally the best steak I've ever had in my whole life. And he's like, what do you want for breakfast? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, I'll give you options.
Steak and eggs.
he's like bacon, sausage. What do you want? And I'm like, either one's fine. He goes, okay, both. And I'm like, and then he goes, okay, cinnamon rolls or biscuits. And I'm like, either one. He goes, okay, both. So he made cinnamon rolls, biscuits, bacon, eggs, sausage, steak. He made scrambled eggs and over easy eggs. And then he made sauteed peppers and onions on top of that. So bacon, egg, sausage, steak, 2 kinds of eggs, cinnamon rolls, biscuits, coffee, and peppers and onions.
I need to step my game up these days because I haven't cooked you breakfast in a little while.
Well, I mean, I meal prep a lot for us, so.
No, but I do it because I want to do things for you, and I'm realizing right now that I really haven't done.
What do you mean?
I haven't lived up to that expectation in a hot minute.
Okay, first of all, that was way too much food, and neither one of us finished half our plate.
Yeah, but leftovers are fine because we live together now, and, whatever.
I understand that.
So it's a different circumstance, but also I'm realizing that I haven't. I'm sorry.
I don't think you need to be sorry.
But I am, though.
But it was beautiful, and I was like, oh my God, he's spoiling me. And I was sitting there like, wow, like, this is more than any person in my life has ever done for me, ever. Like, this is more, like, I love you, Mom and Dad, if you're listening, but this is more than I've seen my dad do for my mom in, like, 20-plus years of marriage in one meal. Sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. But it...
I don't want any part of that statement.
He's not a part of it. It's me. But for real, I was like, wow. Like he genuinely takes pride in just doing something for me and like making food for me.
Also,
they
probably shouldn't hear this fucking.
No, they
episode.
shouldn't. They shouldn't.
They
no.
really.
Mom and Dad, if you're listening, go back and undo it. No,
no.
We're not sending.
No.
No,
we have to.
But it's funny because I remember calling my mom after Saturday. when you made me dinner, and like calling her on the way home. She's like, how did it go? And I was like, Mom, I'm done. Like, I met the person I'm going to marry. She's like, are you for real? I was like, yeah, like I did. And she remembers that conversation. I was like, Mom, like, that's it. Like, I'm done. And I remember being like, oh my God, like I'm done. And she was just like, oh my God, you're done. And I remember just being like this thing, like, just like I'm doing right now. Like, oh my God, I'm done. Like, that's it. Sorry. But yeah.
God damn it, Kyle.
Sorry. But yeah, just like when you know, you find your person, you find them. And to end the story, this is Monday, and we've said I love you. So we meet Wednesday. Thursday he has the kids. Friday he has to work. Saturday he makes me dinner. I spend the night. Sunday we go paintballing. I spend the night. Monday or Sunday night we become official. Monday night we exchange I love yous. And then a week and a half
Sunday
later
night we exchange I love yous.
A week and a half later we live together. And we've lived together for 6.5, almost 7 years. So, when you know, I get it. If you think that's not possible, fine. But like, we're testament that like almost 7 years later, if you know, you know.
Then why don't you feed me? I'm kidding. I had to lighten the mood. I'm about to cry myself over here, dude. This is not okay.
I'm sorry.
So, another thing, she already knows, so like we can tell you guys. I asked her dad for her hand, and unfortunately, when I did, I thought that I had, job security, right? I was, about to be promoted to head bartender at where I was. I was making great money, and then the owner decided to sell the restaurant.
2 weeks before Christmas last year.
This was literally a year ago now, and I haven't bought a ring, and
Hey, whoa.
No, I'm sorry.
It's set us back in a lot of our goals, not just this. We wanted to buy a house this year. We wanted to do a lot of things this year that we didn't get to do. But what?
I want it to be known that if it wasn't for that restaurant closing, there would be a ring on your finger right the fuck now.
I know. And I know.
And I want to marry you so much. Like, you have no idea. I want to marry
you so much. I love you and I like you.
I love you and I like you.
But at the end of the day, I want all of you to know that if you're listening to this podcast, that when you love each other, there are outside stressors, like what he's mentioning, that will test your relationship. They might be financial. They might be work-life balance.
That needs to be our next episode.
And we need to talk a lot about stressors that impact your relationship. Because even when you found your person and when you know, and they're your best friend and your partner and everything to you, there are still things that will test you in the world and make your relationship hard. It doesn't mean that you don't love each other. Don't love each other.
I'm trying to lighten the situation. I'm still trying not to cry. God damn it.
I know, but even like
you can't segue.
But for real, we want you guys to know that like just because we have this beautiful story and we knew so fast doesn't mean we haven't faced adversity in our relationships. We have faced financial stress. We have faced grief. We have faced work-life balance stress. We have faced, the balance of owning a business and being partners in the business and partners in life together.
Literally our entire relationship now.
We have faced so many challenges, and so we want to be able to take this beautiful story and break it down to, if you don't have that or don't feel like you have that because of these adversities, we want you to know that you can make it that. We want to talk about love languages, and we want to talk about all of the things that we have faced as a couple against the world, because it's not us against each other, it's us against the world and the world against us, and we have to do everything that we can to combat the stressors that the world brings against us, so that you just keep pushing. And if you love each other, listen, if you are willing to put the work in, because no relationship is, I don't believe in 50-50. It's 100-100. You both put in 100%.
You have to. You have to.
And there might be times where you feel like 100.
There's no 50-50.
And I want to preface that by saying that I think there are times in your life where you feel like your 100 is less than other times of life 100. But if you're giving all you can give, all you can give. That is your 100.
That's it.
Right? So like on your toughest days, when like if you can't get out of bed because of what you're facing, or you're sick, or you're dealing with whatever, and you can't give the same 100 you gave a different day, that is your 100 that day.
Yeah. And I just real quick want to preface on that, like when you're going through like wedding vows, right, and sickness and health, I feel like encompasses a ridiculously large, spectrum of circumstances, right? Such as, hey, I can't life today. I need to lay in bed, no matter what you're facing. Like your significant other could be facing what the fuck ever it may be, and
like I just need a me day. I just need to not. I need to not people today is the way I usually phrase it. But like I think a lot of people, like in our parents' generation, people thought in sickness and in health meant at the end of your spouse's life when they're decrepit, that's when you change their diapers. No,
it's
in
everything
sickness
in
and in
between.
health is everything. It's it's the postpartum after having a baby. It's the I'm dealing with depression after losing a person who's important to me. It's depression after your pets pass away. It's the
I've had a long day at work and I just can't do it.
Exactly, I just can't.
I need to cuddle up with a pint of ice cream in the office.
Or like go take a bath and be by myself, and I need to not be near you. Like I can't, you know.
And when she does that, I'm sorry, I bother her way too much.
No, you don't.
Don't do what I do.
No,
don't bother her way too much.
He's so cute. He'll run a bath for me, and he'll come and check on me about an
you
hour
want another
in.
drink?
An hour
in,
and he'll be like,
"Would
you like a water? Do you need a drink? Would you like a snack? You know,
it's not even an hour. It's like 5 minutes. You need anything? No. Okay. Oh, you need anything? No.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You need anything?
There's nothing wrong with that.
I bother, and you need your alone time. So like again, don't do what I do.
No, you find your balance as a couple, but we'll talk about that too. Alone time with hobbies and things like that is important versus time together. So we have so much we want to share for you guys, and we wanted to kind of give you like the origin story of how we got to where we are, almost 7 years in. Like I said, we have lived together for literally all but 2 weeks of the time we have been together. We exchange I love yous very fast. It seems crazy to everyone.
Your dad.
Oh my God.
We FaceTimed your dad, and
my
she was
parents
like,
lived out of state, so we had
by
to.
the way, he's moving in. He looks at me, he goes, "Do you have tools?" I was like, "Yes, sir. Yes, I do." He goes, "All right, cool." I was like,
my dad trusts me to make decisions. He knows I'm not going to live with somebody that I don't trust and don't care about.
It's still like to this day, I was just like,
yeah.
All right.
My mom already knew, but she hadn't told my dad because I like called her. I told my mom everything, so like she already knew. But I'm like, we told your dad, and he was kind of like, "All right, you guys are nuts." And
he goes, "It's never gonna last."
Yeah, and
that's exactly like verbatim, like tone and everything. It's never gonna last. Y'all are making a stupid fucking decision.
It's way too fast, is what I think he was saying. But then my dad was like, "You got tools," and he's like, "I trust my daughter. I know she's not gonna make a stupid decision, whatever." And we went from there, and here we are, almost 7 years later. We will celebrate.
And that's why I ask you life advice for myself.
We will celebrate our 7th anniversary in May.
Damn right, baby. So. I love you.
I love you.
You're my favorite.
You're my favorite. So I think that's a great kind of like background for any of you guys who happen to be listening to this podcast and don't know our origin story, whether you're from the socials or not. And in the next episode, I think we're going to start tackling love languages and all that is one of the most outside forces against relationships.
I, in all fairness, like when it comes down to having a successful relationship, you have to know your love languages.
And know your partners.
What's the statistic these days? Like 50% of all relationships and marriages ended. Yeah, like.
So if you want to be the 50% that doesn't, we got you. We got you.
I feel like 90% of that could be resolved by just knowing each other's love language.
And being willing to love the person the way they need to be loved. I think there's an and. It's not just knowing it. And being willing to show them love the way they need to be loved. You have to accept it,
and you have to give them and show them affection in their love language.
Yeah. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that next week.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining. We're out of drink. Oh, we're out of drink, so we can't.
Well, let's cheers anyway. I got a little bit left. I got enough to swig.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.